What's going on, everyone? My name is Sherwin, and in this video we are gonna go over the 30,000 mile review of my 2022 Model Y Performance. So it took about 505 days, if I'm not mistaken, from the day of delivery to 30,000 miles, 505 days. Now, I did a video previously just going over 10,000 miles, which took, I believe, about 180 days. So check the links in the description below. Actually, go check the description because I'm going to put a bunch of reference videos there that I've done previously that I'm going to be going over during this video. So I invite you to go check those out if you have some time. I took delivery of this car August 2022 at the highest price that Tesla was selling these for. I'll put up a little list of how much everything cost. So the performance itself was a markup of $30,000. The white interior is $1,000. The base price of the Model Y at that time is $39,990. And then I also upgraded and got the tow hitch, the factory tow hitch at $1,000. The subtotal is $71,990. So total price for this Model Y Performance back in August 2022 was $79,948.60. Now, if you subtract $16,000 from the Model 3 trade-in and then $750 from the EV incentive, we had to pay $62,130.42. If we were to finance that, because we paid cash for this car, I think I calculated roughly about $8,000 of interest payments for 6 years. Interest rates was already high at that time, so we decided to just pay it cash. And if we were to subtract 62,000 with 8,000, that brings the price down to about 54,000. Now, just because we paid cash for it doesn't mean I don't have any bills. I borrowed from ourselves, so I'm still putting in about $1,200 a month into our bank account to replenish that account so that we can be ready for any future investments that we want to do, because buying a car isn't really a good investment because it depreciates. So 30,000 miles, what does it look like with the Model Y Performance based on my driving habits and the driving conditions that I've been through? Well, it used 8,384 kilowatt hours and 279 watt hour per mile average. What does that look like if we were to look at charging costs? So this calculation, because there's two ways to look at the calculations. The first way is the actual usage of the car, and also the actual cost of charging it, including unused energy or energy lost with air conditioning, Sentry mode, just sitting there, vampire drain, and all that stuff. So there's two ways to do it, but the calculation I'm going to be sharing with you guys is just actual usage. Let's pretend the cost per kilowatt hour is 23 cents. To refill or charge 8,384 kilowatt hours worth would cost $1,928.32. Then if we look at 33 cents per kilowatt hour, you have 27, 66, and 72 cents. So just look at the graph there. I'm not going to go over each one. If you want to compare it to gasoline cost, I have this bar graph that I'm going to put up on the screen. But basically, if we were going to take a $3.50 per gallon price at 25 miles per gallon vehicle, I would have spent $4,200.14. So at the lowest cost of electricity, you're saving a little over half the price. Again, your mileage may vary, depends on where you live, electricity cost, gas prices, road conditions, weather, and all that. My energy spent driving 30,000 miles may differ from you. So I'm just giving you an example based on my own driving experience and also driving habits and all that stuff. So just take a look at the graph. You're still saving $700 in just refueling and energy. This is just calculating how much it costs to charge up the car, and this is against fueling with gasoline. So keep in mind there is not much maintenance on the Tesla versus if you have driven 30,000 miles on a gas car, what kind of maintenance would you have already done? Oil change, probably one of those 15,000 mile ones and 30,000. I don't even know what those are, but usually they have those kinds of services. My last high mileage car was a 2016 Prius. And all I did was tire rotation and oil change for that. And I think I traded it in around 80 something thousand miles, close to 100,000 miles. I traded it in for the Model 3. But even though they had those intermediate stuff, these cars, even gas cars, have improved as far as, you know, having to do these intermediate services. They still schedule them, but I just do oil change and I just do tire rotations. So let's ignore all those intermediate stuff. How many oil changes will you go through at 30,000 miles? And then how many tire rotations? But also keep in mind, if you go to the right place, tire rotations are pretty much free, like Costco, America's Tire, all those tire shops are free. So with that, let's talk about maintenance. Now the Model Y comes in 3 different trim levels. At the time I bought it, they only had 2, but now they have 3. They have the standard range, I believe is what they call it, and those actually have the 4680 batteries. I think there's so many changes now, but there's 3 trim levels. You have the standard range, I think, you have the long range, and then you have the performance. The performance trim doesn't come in a squared setup, meaning the tires in the rear are a different size from the front, and so they are wider, different size. And normally when you do tire rotations, you just flip them from rear to front, front to rear. You can't really do that with staggered setup vehicles, and the performance is set up that way. So I haven't done any tire rotations, but you can, however, if the tire shop will do it, is you can rotate them across. Now, depending on the pattern of the tires, you can rotate them across and flip them, because some tires will have the word outside on them printed. So that's the side that has to remain outside of the vehicle. So if you rotate them across, you can't just rotate them. You have to flip them also, so that the outside wording remains outside. One thing you have to consider is the pattern on the tires themselves. I can't remember the word. Is it asynchronous? But anyway, if it's compatible where you flip them, then you should be able to do it. The downside to it could be, like, in wet conditions, you may not have good traction, and also road noise. So that's why just check the pattern on your tires. The tire shop is going to know more about it than I would. So if you ever need to flip them or rotate them across, then, you know, just check out the tire shops and let them go with the recommendation. But this is only for performance, because they are a staggered setup. The Model 3 Performance, last I checked, does not come in a staggered setup. It is a squared setup. But everything else, Model S, Model X, they are all staggered, regardless of whether it's plaid or whether it's long range. I'm not too sure if the previous generation Model S or X come in a staggered setup, because I've never owned one. Okay, so yes, no maintenance so far, no tire rotation, no wiper fluid refills. It hasn't given me any notifications regarding that, but I do live in Southern California. We don't get a lot of rain, so no need for that. I have not changed the cabin filters, although I smell sweaty socks. I should be changing it. Now, it doesn't smell all the time, so it hasn't really forced me to do it, but I really should change the cabin filters, because it's beyond 30,000 miles. I'll probably do a video on that. I'm just trying to find where I can buy these cabin filters, and I want to also clean the evaporator, I think it's called. So I've seen videos on it. It's fairly simple. In the Model 3 that I had previously, actually had mobile service come out and change them for me, because the cost wasn't even expensive. I think it was like $60 or $70. I can't really remember. But so I figured, you know what, let's try out mobile service. Now I did change out the tires and wheels at, I believe, 24,000 miles. The tire shop guy that I know was talking about the uneven wear.
Maybe another 5,000 out of them.
Is it really uneven though?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, you're talking
it's
about a few millimeters difference. But that's just
that's
how
how it
Tesla's,
is.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You have to get those camber arms. Those are the ones that I was talking to Steven about.
On the rear tires, simply because Tesla vehicles usually have a negative camber where it's like this, and you have more wear on the inner part of that tire. Also, the weight of the battery doesn't help as well to have the uneven wear. So one thing you can do if you have the issue, because if you don't, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you do have the issue, one thing you can do is buy control arms for the rear tires to straighten them out, because the arms, what it'll do is it'll allow to adjust that camber to be not negative or zero or flat. So it doesn't have control arms, and if you want to adjust your camber, then you can get aftermarket stuff. I had looked into it, but so far the wear on the tires, even the new ones, haven't been too excessive as far as wearing the inner part. Now there is more wear in the inner part, but it's just what you get with these cars. Now for registration renewal, I paid $854 plus $16.65 because California DMV loves those tacking on those fees. So I may opt for getting those Reviver license plates. I think it's like $70 a year, and I don't have to worry about all this stuff. And everything is pretty quick. I'm just contemplating. Yeah, it's more than $16.65, but it's more immediate. It's like instant renewals. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Also, we have in California, we have these carpool HOV stickers, which cost $22, and I believe they last for 3 or 4 years, and then I renew for another $22. Hopefully, the price hasn't changed, but it's been $22 since having the Model 3 back in 2019. Next, I want to discuss the low voltage battery. Now, Tesla does come with two different kinds. The first kind is the lead acid, which is your traditional low voltage battery, the 12 volt. And then now the newer cars come with lithium ion 12 volt or low voltage battery. The way you can tell is if, according to the manual, if you have a car that was manufactured around December 2021, you have the lithium ion battery. And I'm just going to call it low voltage battery because calling it 12 volt is kind of inaccurate because the lithium ion actually measures at 15 volts. Now, I'm just going to say around December 2021, because there isn't any documentation that I found that says or gives a specific December date. Was it early December? Was it mid-December? Was it late December? One other indicator you could look at is if your APU is a Ryzen processor, more than likely you're going to have the lithium ion. Another way you could do it is you go into the service mode, and I will insert a clip of going over the service mode and looking over at the battery right now. Okay, so we're looking at the service mode in the Model Y, and we are looking at the low voltage. And as I mentioned, this is the lithium ion battery, low voltage battery. It's not the lead acid. And it looks like state of charge is at 79%, and the voltage is 15.40 something volts. So these are larger than 12 volts because it's a lithium ion. It's reading at roughly around 15 volts. So it looks like voltage target is 15.60 something. It's fluctuating between 61 and 63. So it looks like from the voltage reading, we are still pretty good as far as the health of the low voltage battery, over 30,000 miles. These are expected to last a little bit longer than the traditional lead acid battery. Looking at the high voltage menu, we're just at the HV system. Currently, I'm at 34.6% state of charge. I haven't had much issue. Actually, I haven't had issues at all related to the high voltage battery at over 30,000 miles. Recently, I traveled to San Diego and I actually charged the battery to 100%, and the reading was, I think, 279 from the EPA rated 303. Now, when I bought this car, the EPA rating was 303 miles. I usually take 10% off of that. So if that were the case, I will fall under that. Charging your battery at 100% and then switching it to view the miles isn't really a good indicator of how much range your battery can get, because your range can vary depending on road conditions, the weather, how fast you drive, incline, decline. It's just not a good indicator. So it's just like gas cars. The more energy you use, obviously your miles per gallon is going to decrease. So that's not really a good indicator. But I haven't had any issues with the battery for driving over 30,000 miles. So just doing a bit of Googling, what it says is lithium ion can have up to five times more energy density than the lead acid. So some have said you can get 30 to 50 watt hour per kilogram. I hope I'm reading that correctly. Versus in lithium ion, you have 150 to 300 watt hour per kilogram. Again, I have all these resources links in the description below, so if you have some time, please do check them out. They are pretty interesting. So technically it should last longer going by that. So at 30,000 miles, I'm not really too concerned about replacing my lithium ion low voltage battery. Now, I have had friends who had Model 3, two of them with a Model 3 that was built prior to 2021, which is the lead acid low voltage battery. And the issue was it didn't notify them. At least according to them, the car did not give them a warning to change, or the low voltage battery is being low. So they got stuck. Fortunately, one of them was at home in the garage, and she was ready to leave to go pick up her daughter, and she couldn't get out. She had to call Tesla service, and it turned out to be the low voltage battery. So I don't know if the notifications were there, but it was just hidden, because you know how you have to go into that car menu, then go to the bell, and then it'll give you a list of all these notifications. So I'm not sure if the notification popped up on the screen, or it just popped up, but internally, like, notification was there. It just had it on that list of the bell thing. So I'm not really sure. So that's always a big concern of mine, if that low voltage battery just dies and I was not given that warning. But if you have been given that warning, pay attention to it, because you can lock yourself out of the car. You can jump start it and stuff, but to access that battery, there's additional steps you have to do, from removing that front round thing. If you have a Model 3 and a Model Y, there's that round circle thing there with terminals that you can connect a small A23 battery to. There's plenty of videos online that you could check out, but that's how you can pop the hood, because the hood is electronic. You can't pop the hood from your app because your car is dead, and you can't open the door because the car is dead. So to save you from the headache, watch those videos, just for you to be prepared, and just keep an eye out on your battery levels by going to the service mode, or just look at how much mileage you have. Like right now, again, 30,000 plus miles. My readings on my low voltage look pretty good. Now, going back to the new tires and new wheels that I got, the Model Y Performance comes with 21-inch wheels and tires stock, but I opted to get smaller tires. They're actually lighter. I believe the stock weight is 37 pounds versus per wheel, versus I think 21 or 24 pounds on the new wheels. So I save a little bit of weight per wheel, and I've also went with smaller diameter tires, but I kept the staggered setup. Now, in my head, I'm like, okay, lighter wheels, Smaller diameter tires equals better watt hour per mile. Overall, the average, it actually went up, and I was a bit curious as to why. And I was talking to a couple of people, and one of them had asked, hey, did you ever do alignment on your car when you changed out your tires and wheels? And I said, oops, no, I didn't. So I'm not too sure if that's playing into factor. I don't think my alignment has any issues. Just going off of the wear and tear of the tires, it looks abnormally normal because again, negative camber on the rear tires. But I am going to consider looking into an alignment. Maybe it'll improve the watt hour per mile. But basically, it jumped 20 watt hour per mile. So it used to be like 272 watt hour per mile before I swapped out the set. And now I'm getting 292. Now, there's a couple of things. It could be weather related, but you know, winter time in California isn't really too cold, although this winter has been colder than usual. But I just don't think it's only that. Also, during the holiday season, which just recently passed, going to work, the commute isn't as traffic as it normally is. So my speeds are a little higher or faster. So I took a reading at one of my daily commutes, and my watt hour per mile is 256. At 116 miles, 30 kilowatt hours used. So that's about what it was before, if I remember correctly. I wish I took a reading with the older set. So it is a huge difference from like 292, 294 watt hour per mile, my total average. So I did reset the trip meter on December 5th, 2023, up to about February, like about 2.5 months worth. I've driven a distance of 3,959 miles, used 1,152 kilowatt hours, and my average watt hour per mile is 291. So I'm just giving you a couple numbers to check out and consider, but those are the numbers. I also took the Model X to one of my work commutes when Abby had to carpool with me, and here are the numbers that I got, just to give you a little bit of numbers to look at to compare. But you can see that the watt hour per mile just on that work commute is a lot better than the total watt hour per mile average since taking delivery of the Plaid. So that just shows you that we drive through a lot of traffic. So basically the worse traffic is, the more efficient your car is, and it's the exact same thing you would get if it was a gas car. Now, for some of the issues that I ran into with this car, there was the airbag light, there was the pedal vibration, misaligned glass roof, and then the app, it doesn't connect. And so I have videos on all of these except for the misaligned glass roof. I just have pictures, which I'll just post. But I have videos on these, again, links in the description below. But the app not connecting, I think I have an idea of what's happening. So I've started to notice when you are supercharging, there are Wi-Fi connections provided by Tesla when you are charging. And when it connects to that, when you're charging, it gets off the LTE and connects to probably Starlink or whatever internet provider Tesla's paying for in that location. I think it just gets like too many cars are charging there and connecting to the same network that the connection times out. Even though it says it's connected, it times out. So when I'm trying to check to see what my charging status is, it sometimes times out. It gives me an error, or it just has that spinning thing and it won't connect. So I think that's what it is. It's just there's too much congestion on that Wi-Fi connection because of the number of cars charging in that location. So I think Tesla, if I am correct on that, then Tesla needs to either provide better Wi-Fi connection there, or don't connect it at all, or give the option to not connect to the Wi-Fi and just keep it on LTE. Because for the most part, when it's on LTE, I haven't had issues connecting with the app to the car. Now, there are some times where my GPS would disconnect, but then it'll reconnect. So Now, as far as accessories, mods, and subscription, what we have is the all-weather floor mats from Tesla that our previous Model Y 7-seater had. So I took it before we sold it. I have the hitch, the factory hitch. I have a Kuwait Transfer V2 bike rack, which again I have a video on if you want to check that out. I have last fit back seat protectors. That is a sponsored item. So this is not a sponsored video, but some of these items that I'm going to be sharing with you are sponsored, and I will let you know. I had the under seat protectors, but I had to remove it because I got another accessory that I have in there in place, and that's also sponsored. So Last Fit has some sponsored videos on this channel. The next one is Halo Black, which they also have sponsored content on this channel. But what we have is the under seat storage. So that's what I have there now, that I had to remove the under seat protectors. Otherwise, these won't fit. I have the trash cans, and I have the front and trunk liners. Again, these are all sponsored items. You could check out those videos if you are interested in them. So we have mud flaps. I have the links in the description below. I'm trying to swap those out because they're a bit too long and I scrape on speed bumps. And then if I leave the driveway, I also scrape. We also have the TinyBot wrap. We have the RVRN MB373 wheels. We have the Alpha Rex tail lights. We have the hand show front and rear sequential lights. We have the F9 screen, video coming soon, unless it's already out. I'll put the links in the description. The camera part on that hasn't been installed because we've had some weird weather lately. We have the Tesla roof rack that at the time of making this video, I have not installed. We have the center console organizer, which is a must if you don't have one. We have tint, 40% rear and 50% in the front. I also got the windshield tinted at 70%, which is that one is a sponsored video. You could check out that video as well if you're curious about 70% tint on the windshield, but please do check your local laws to see if that's okay or not. I pay $100 annually for the premium connectivity. I'm only after two things from that service. One is the remote access to the cameras, the Sentry mode cameras, and then the live traffic update. So those two are important enough for me to pay $10 a month or $100 a year. I also paid 5 years in advance for the MyQ subscription, which is $179, which controls my garage door opener. And the cool thing about it is both Model Y and Model X can use the same exact subscription without paying any additional fees. We have a Ryobi air compressor that we carry when we go on road trips. If you don't have an air compressor, look into getting one. I just got the Ryobi one simply because I have a lot of Ryobi tools that uses the same battery because Home Depot has these sales, the Ryobi Days sale, where it's like you buy a tool and you get 2 free batteries. So I got tons of batteries. That's why I opt to get the Ryobi air compressor. You don't have to have it, but if you don't have one and you need to put air in your tires, you're going to have to go to the gas station. So that's one of the things I'm trying to avoid by owning an EV, is not to go to the gas station. I also have a Ryobi power washer. Again, I have a video on that. Just go check that out. I use Chemical Guys Wash, not sponsored. Chemical Guys, if you want to sponsor me, please, because your products are a little pricey. But I love using their products. I've been using it for years. What is it like driving this car for more than 30,000 miles? I love it. I love it. One of the biggest things I love, and one of the reasons why I upgraded or traded in my Model 3, which I also love, but I upgraded and traded it in for the Model Y, is the hatchback. And to be able to sit higher when driving, and just the space that the hatch gives you, I mean, is just amazing. I'm able to fit is it a twin size mattress? I'm able to fit that because I had to get it. During my birthday, I bought a couple of upgrades to the Shed Studios, some Husky cabinets and things. I didn't get to fit all of them, but most of them I was able to fit. It's just amazing. You can easily fit a 55-inch TV with plenty of room. You can do tires. So when I swapped out the tires, I was able to fit. I know I could have fit all 4 of them. I just didn't want to get the interior too dirty, so I went 2 trips. I took a pair each from the tire shop and going home. But I know you could fit 4 because I was able to fit 4 wheels in boxes. And the usual Home Depot trips where I buy salt, soil, etc., etc. But this car, man, I love this car. There's a reason why this is the #1 selling vehicle. It's just really amazing. The performance suspension is a little stiff, so you will feel a lot of the bumps. But I've taken it on a canyon run. It is not like the Model 3 I had. There is a little bit of body roll. And I've also, one of my headlights actually sunk in, and I think it's due to the body roll and the flexing of the body. I think because that's the only time I noticed it, right after I did that canyon run. The headlight sunk in. But it was easily fixed. The Model Y, when you fold the back seats down, there's just a lot of space, a lot of space. The only thing is the height itself, because it's a hatch, it tends to slope downwards. But I think it's enough. Whenever I need to haul something, like if I go to Home Depot or whatever, I just take the Model Y instead of the Model X. The X technically is larger, like physically, but the plaid trim level, it's a 6-seater where the second row are captain chairs, and they don't fold down. So you could fold the third row down, but that's the only area you have to haul things or store things. So whenever I need to carry large objects that can fit, I prefer to take the Model Y over the Model X. So that's pretty cool like that. So but yeah, it's been an awesome car. The only thing that I miss from the Model X when I'm driving the Model Y is those ventilated seats. I've said it numerous times in videos that I love having ventilated seats, and rumor has it that the refresh Model Y Project Juniper is gonna have it based on Project Highland, which is the Model 3 refresh, having those ventilated seats. I really wish they had it. Would it make me want to like trade in to get the ventilated seats? I'm gonna say no at this time, because 2 things. I love the Model Y the way it is, and I could live without it even through the California summer. And then number 2, had I known Rivian was going to use the NACS, the NACS, North America charging standard, had I known back in August 2022 that Rivian was going to go that way, I wouldn't have bought the Model Y Performance. I actually would have went with a Rivian R1T. And I think at that time, for a few $1,000s more, I would have gotten the quad motor truck. Because again, I've always wanted a truck. But I went back to Tesla simply because of the charging support, the charging network, and everything. But I would have loved to have the R1T rather than the Model Y Performance. But again, I love my Model Y Performance. And I'm looking at a used R1T, but I'm hoping to find one somewhere around the $50,000 to $55,000 range. I've heard that there were some that's been sold at that price, and it's I think 40 to 50,000 miles on there, so I don't mind the mileage. But if that opportunity were ever to come, I would not trade in my Model Y. I would keep the Model Y, and I would have the Rivian R1T. So we would end up having 3 EVs in the garage. Well, not in the garage, but on the driveway. But yeah, I love the Model Y. It's just been the best car. I do miss the Model 3, but just being that it's more efficient, and the canyon runs. Oh man, if you have a Model 3, take it on a canyon run, please. That thing, oh man, it's such a dream to drive. I've never driven a standard range. I've had a long range, and if I can imagine what the performance version is based on the Model Y performance with the suspension, I'm not really sure if they have the same suspension. It's pretty fun if you have a Model 3. If there's a canyon nearby, just take it there. It's really fun. But beyond that, this car has been great. I love this car. I love this car. This is actually the car that I have the most mileage in, because I traded in the Model 3 at 31,000 and I'm currently sitting at, I think, 33 or 34,000 miles. And many more miles. I can't wait. I can't wait. I love this car. So stay tuned for more videos. I got more videos coming out for the Model Y and for the Model X. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. If you like the video, please like. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.